Welcome to Courageous Conversations. I'm your host, Rebekah Sharp, and I am truly honored to bring you these testimonies that are woven into conversations meant to create a divine tapestry that captures beauty, grace, strength, passion, and you guessed it, courage. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Hello and welcome to Courageous Conversations. I am your host, Rebekah Sharp, and today I have the extraordinary privilege of sharing the space with one of my very best friends. Miss LaDawn Catchings is a sister, a daughter, aunt, a fiance. She is also a marketing maven, CEO of Paw Noir, and her latest and greatest title, Chief Marketing Officer of Enterprise Offensive Security. So LaDawn, I love you, sister, and thank you so much for joining us today on Courageous Conversations.
No problem. Only Rebecca can make you sound that great. If I could just keep you in my pocket and have you introduce me every room I come into, that would be great.
You know, that's not too bad of a job. We'll have to talk about that a little bit more.
I definitely pay well for sure.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Well, I know that that was quite the introduction. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about the industries that you currently occupy, where you are from, and how you and I are connected.
Okay. All right. So industries first. I work in automotive. Most of my entire marketing background is automotive. I think I'm touching 10 years, let's just round up, of automotive marketing, which is such an interesting niche in itself, but I love it. I really do. Um, I've done General Motors, and I've also done Audio of America. I'm kind of in a sandwich. I did General Motors social media, Audio of America for 5 years, which was like print and event and email, CRM, and all of that stuff. Their after sales portion. And now I just hit 2 years at General Motors, all digital, working with their dealerships specifically. So I've done like tier one and tier three, as you know what that means. And now I've started my own brand for doggy clothing, doggy drip. It launches really, really soon. So I appreciate you for mentioning that. And I am also a CMO of my fiance's company, which is a software company, software as a service company for security, because we need all of our things to be secure because hackers are absolutely out there. So that is a mouthful. I know you asked me other things. I'm from Detroit, went to Michigan, that's each other. And yeah, we met on like basically the first day. As you tell the story, everyone was like, "Hey, do you know Rebecca?" And to you, everyone was like, "Hey, have you met LaDawn yet?" And
Exactly.
we met, and then here we most literally are, 15 some odd years later. So
Wow, I know. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of the great things that you're doing right now. Of course, I am happy to promote the work that you are doing on this platform because I believe in it and I'm just so excited for you. And I want to talk about the courage that it does take for you to let go of what's sort of like easy and familiar and really like launch into uncharted territory, but things that you know are prevalent on your heart and that you really want to unleash into the world.
mhm. That, yeah, I think about that a lot. It's definitely hard, and it's definitely like an everyday, like you have to wake up and choose to be great. As the kids say, like wake up and choose violence. I like you have to wake up and choose success. And in in that way, I um, I think last year was probably like my biggest year of growth. And I don't know why a whole pandemic had to take that out of me. And that's probably something I need to literally talk about with my therapist. But like just literally being like, hey, everyone, like there's only so much that I can change. I'm gonna give it my all. um Chaos is happening around me, but let me at least try, like kind of like a Hail Mary, if you will, of goals. So a lot of those things that you just announced happened last year. I'm also in school getting my master's at Northwestern, and that I had basically given up on myself. It's like, guess I'm just gonna have a bachelor's and that's gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be great still, regardless without it, because there's millions of people doing that.
Yeah.
People that I literally look up to that can do it with a bachelor's. or less.
I was gonna say,
And
right, or no degree. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
absolutely, right? So, um, yeah, you just have to like literally, goals are huge, and like inching towards them is what works well for me, because I believe that one of my things is like procrastinating, and procrastinating with lofty goals. Like obviously, um I wanted to apply to school, so I did that. I worked through it with chunks, but my type of self-destruction and procrastination is like being like, well, you know what, like maybe I should apply to a school in Singapore, or like maybe I should apply for an Oscar. I've never, acted a day in my life, but like I could do this. Like that's my level of self-destruction. And just recognizing that, and then like powering through. We all have different levels, so
I love that. And I still believe that you can get an Oscar and that you will work in Singapore as well. I love the lofty dreams, though, and the big goals that you have set for yourself. And I'm grateful that you are clawing away at that procrastination, distraction, so that you can continue to be propelled toward the great things that you have to release into the world. So I love that. And thank you so much for sharing. And I did want to talk about your journey to school too, because I know within our audience, there are people at all different levels of education. And, you took the road less traveled, I guess, in terms of the time between when we graduated from undergrad to when you are now pursuing this dream that has been placed on your heart with your master's degree. And I really applaud you and honor you, because you had this dream and you were like relentless with knowing you wanted to achieve it. And
yep.
so, can you talk about what it has been like now, after we've graduated, 11 years later, now you're back in school, getting into that rhythm and flow. You're in this world renowned program and you're working full time. You're planning a wedding, you're considering moving. Like you've got all these different, intersecting. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely. No, I completely. When you say that, I'm like, maybe I should like sit down somewhere.
No,
Yeah,
it's great. It's great. All of us are doing, we're such multifaceted beings, especially in this day and age, right? But I'd love for you to just share what that journey has been like in you finally getting there. And now that you're in this space that you've dreamed about for so long, how you're managing all of these competing priorities.
short answer, I think I appreciate it a lot more. Because I feel like if I would have went immediately after, and immediate could be like 1 to 2 years right after school, I don't think I would have appreciated it. I am a completely different person than I was in undergrad. I think we all have grown, obviously, but even as a student, I don't even study the same way. I don't even research, like I've researched how to study, which are like there are courses online to become a better like studier student, if you
Really?
will. Yeah, absolutely. Coursera, they have like a like 5-week program on learn how to study. Um, and when you learn yourself that well, like you appreciate it. I don't know if I appreciate it because it's a private school and it's very expensive per credit, but I definitely appreciate it a lot more than I think I would have. Um, my writing is a lot better, because I have a real world experience to
Yeah.
incorporate into it. The other day I wrote like 400 pages in like 25 minutes. I don't. We've studied before. I didn't do that in college.
Well,
But like when you have these jobs, and I've been working for like about 10 years, when you have these jobs where they're like, we need this report now, like immediately, then you can translate that and be able to like focus and hunker down, and also like produce great work. Um, so the goal was always there. My mother just wanted me to get my master's. I mean, I think every mother just wants their kid to get their master's or the PhD, depending on where your parents are in their educational journeys. Um, I did it the hard way, I think, depending on who you ask.
yeah.
But you're right. Like I was pretty resilient in wanting to go to a nationally ranked school, because as you know, like you're a student, you've been a student before. Educational loans are quite ridiculous, in the way that you have to pay them back and the way that they accrue interest. And it's not like a, hey, check mark, you get $1 million after you finish. So it's not a sure thing. So I just wanted to go to like one of the best schools and one of the best programs. And I'm personally obsessed with this program because um, I've learned who I am as a human. And when I was younger and even in college, I knew that like I loved logic and math. And even though I did not pursue that, I just knew that that was like, that's something that makes me happy. Um, but with this program, I get to, it's literally known for like being both creative and analytical. And like, you know me, but like, I know that that is like where I breathe, like right there in the middle. So being in a program like that, I'm like, every day I'm excited to go to class. And
Yeah.
I'm old. Like I should not be this excited to go to class. I have other things to do. Like I also work a full-time job, but I'm learning so much and it's fantastic. I definitely had to bet on myself. I talked myself out of applying. I I think I got my first info packet about this program maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Could have applied then and I did not. And then, you know, the pandemic happened and I was just like, yo, like, it would be really cool. Like everyone's at home. I can probably do this now. And it worked. Um, Still, like, I mean, I'm on my fourth class. It takes 13 to graduate. I still don't believe that I'm in school right now. Like it's something that I really wanted. So
Yeah, and you're moving right through it. And I think like just the fact that this program really does fuse like your two dominant identities and is like the perfect mix for you, and you are excited about going, like to me, that really demonstrates that this is the right time for you to be in school, you know,
yeah,
like this was your moment. And there were so many other times where maybe there were other voices or other things that you felt like you should have been going, but this sounds like it's just a really special time for you to bet on yourself and to see such great success on the other side of that.
yeah, for sure. I think about that a lot, and I also think that it could have taken me a long time because as gifted children, we're so good at a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Um, which is there goes, you know, that distraction that, oh, well, I can do this or I could possibly do that.
Yeah.
But like once you realize like, yo, this is what I want to do, this is what I need to do, this is what makes me the happiness. Like, sure, I could also name 15 other things that I'll be okay at, but like what makes me the happiness and what do I want to change in the world, makes it a little bit easier, at least for me. It only took me 8 years to figure that out, but you know,
But it's so special that you are now engaging with this program from a place of having figured it out.
for
And
sure.
now, you know, you're much more aligned with the things that you want to do. And we were having a conversation even before we started this conversation, and like just the way that your mind is wired around certain solutions that you want to bring to the world and certain ways that stories are told through brands. Like it just really warmed my heart because I'm like, wow, you are doing exactly what you are gifted in and what you're passionate about. And as a friend, that's a really beautiful thing to see. So I'm proud of you, sister.
I appreciate
And you know, because I am your friend and sister, I've been able to be with you on this journey, and I've seen a lot of the different gifts that you bring into the world. And one of those that I want to highlight is your comedic career. And so I want to talk about, and I'm laughing saying it because LaDawn is one of the most hilarious people that I know. Anybody who knows her will definitely just use the word funny and comedic to describe her. She brings light and joy and laughter into every space that she's in. And so I want to talk about what that was like for you to kind of be working this corporate job during the day and then like moonlighting as a comedian.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was definitely a moonlight, and it was
To sit
exhausting at
on
that point.
that stage and to share your content, you know, before content creation was a thing, like you were doing it on stages confidently and boldly. And so I'd love to talk about what that journey was like for you.
It's funny. I mean, it's about, you know, finding your niche, and that's definitely mine. Can I say that? I mean, I've done, you know, like as a kid, you know, there's theaters everywhere, and I was not great at that. Like I'm not great at performing someone else's words, and I know that, and I'm not great at understanding the timing. And if we're being honest, I'm not great at like direction, which is very important when you're being like an actress. So like writing my own words down and performing was fun for me. and telling stories in my own little Black Seinfeld way was like this is great. Like I get to do this on the weekends. Like you guys can go to the bar, but like this is what I want to do. It was cool. I might pick it up, you know, if I move to another town. Detroit is not a great town for that, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was a blast. I loved it so much. I just think it's funny that you bring it up because I try to forget about it, but
Not
I
until
might.
you re-engage it, and then I'll be like, "This is what I've been saying all along."
Yeah, it feels like, and yeah, that's another thing. Like we talk about this because you know you're my sis, we're best friends. I would rather perform in front of 400 people about things that I just wrote and just memorized than go into a networking happy hour with 20 people. I would 100% do that. Like there's not even like you wouldn't even have to offer me anything else. Like it there's I'm even cringing thinking about doing like a networking happy hour. No, like I don't know how to talk to people. But no, can I rehearse this in front of people that could possibly heckle me? No, I got it like one all day. But you know, we're all different people. It was fun. Like it was therapeutic. They say that um comedy comes from like a dark place. I did it like I want to say like maybe 2 or 3 years after my father passed away, and that was fun. Like it was fun to like have like an activity that like literally no one knew. Like I was living with my mother at the time, and like my mom was like, "Oh, I just thought you were meeting up with friends during that time where you were like on stage and practicing," and I like literally like comically, if you will, or cheesily, however you want to interpret this, I did not tell her I was performing my first time, and I just gave her an iPad, and I was like, if you were wondering where I was going every Saturday, like this is what I've been doing. And she was like, oh, I didn't think. I don't know what she expected, but yeah, it's always in my back pocket. It's something that I love to do. I
Yeah.
often like, you know how like people might like write recipes on their iPhone. Like if I'm going on a long drive and I'm not driving, if I'm going on a long ride, I'll write up like 5 minutes of stuff. I don't know if I would want to do it post pandemic, but because like what am I going to talk about like a mask? But
Well, I was going to ask you actually, do you have anything that you might want to share with us today? Like, I feel like, no, no, that far, this was enough.
you say I'm funny, but like you were so funny.
Yeah, and I just love, especially you really highlighting the fact that you picked it up more seriously after your father had passed away, and it was therapeutic for you, and it was a way for it was an outlet, you know, for you to just work through your grief and your loss, and you brought so much healing to other people through laughter, you know, and bringing people together through sharing your gifts. So that's something. That's why I bring it up because I really love to see you shine.
And quite honestly, now that I am talking about this and reflecting, it could have very well been like another why not moment. Like what else can I do? Like why not? Like um it why not pandemic? Why not, you know, my father just passed away. Like let's it's something I've always wanted to do. Just why not? So, who knows?
Yeah, there is always purpose in the pain.
Absolutely.
So, something else that I, you know, and again, having some background knowledge of who you are and how you show up in the world, I feel like I'm cheating, kind of asking some of these questions that I already know the answer to. But I think when I just think about moments that you've been very courageous in your life is actually with your dating experiences. So, I mentioned that these faces, no, because I mentioned you are a fiance and
Mhm.
you met your fiance actually in which was at that point kind of an unconventional way. It was online, but it wasn't through like an online dating site. There was a different way that you guys found love and found one another, which is really neat. So I just want you to talk about the courage that it took because it was a little uncomfortable at first, but for you to
Mhm.
give this guy a chance and now literally living happily ever after.
Sure. If I before I tell the story, if I had to put money on what we would talk about, I would not have bet any of my chips on this one. But saying that to say that's a pretty interesting point of courage. You're absolutely right. 1,000% right. And this is why you do what you do. Um, yes, so I met him. I was, as you know, like we're sisters. We talk about dating all the time. I was sick of dating guys that like I genuinely was not attracted to. Like they'll be great on paper, or they would be cute as a model, and like nothing was behind the eyes. Um, I was just tired of it. Like genuinely, like it's exhausting because like you think you're great. And I'm not saying I'm Halle Berry or Michelle Obama together. Like I'm not saying I'm, amazing, but I think I'm amazing. And like
Sure.
you should be able to say like, you know what, I want this in a guy and I want that in a guy, because there are guys that bring less to the table that do it all the time. So I was like, yo, like let me proactively date. Like I want to date someone that I am equally attracted to and they check all my boxes, right? So I made a list. I know what I like in guys. I have very particular taste. Um, and I saw Xavier and on I don't know if you know this part, but I saw Xavier on Tinder back when that was the only one. Because we've been dating for like 7 years now. Um, and I was like, oh my God, he is so cute. And I, being the self-destructing human that I am, I swiped the wrong way. And I was like, yo, and it was before you can undo it. So guys, I'm very much so dating myself here. Um, so I swiped the wrong way and I was like, oh, well, there goes my husband. And
Wow.
everyone like calmed down. And I was like, okay, but like I felt something with this one. Like, and I am a kind of person that has tons of friends, likes tons of people, but romantically, you could be cute, but like bring you home to my mom, my mother? No. So I was like, crap, I really felt something with this profile that I was revealing. And then I want to say maybe 2 weeks later, I saw him on the gram. He was in a mutual friend's picture. And I was like, is this the same red-haired 6'4" guy that I just saw? So I added him, and that's all I was going to do because, as you know me, I am pretty shy. So believe it or not, but like I'm not gonna. What do I slide into the DM? Like if girls want to slide into DMs all day, but like please tell me what I need to say. I do not know. So I added him. That's all I did, and um, he took it from there. Thankfully, he thought I was equally as adorable as I thought he was, and we've been dating ever since. Like we went on our first date maybe a week after, and was official maybe a week or two after that. So it was there. And I kind of just told, oh, and also my mother told me to go on a date with him because he was a lot younger than what I thought. And I always pictured myself dating someone with like a PhD, as parents tell us. Um, and I was like, Mom, he's an entrepreneur, and I know that comes with a lot when dating someone. Um, am I ready for this? So nothing wrong with entrepreneurs by any means. They're super dope, but you kind of have to be like, you kind of have to step up your wifely games, if you will. Um, so I asked my mom, I'm like, he's a little bit younger than me. Like, she was like, girl, if you don't go on that date, um, I was like,
Mom.
okay, I'll go. And we have literally seen each other every day since our first date. So
And I love that because I think that it shows how that courageous act of you, I guess being on Tinder, which I didn't remember that part, but then even adding him
yeah,
on Instagram, but it brought forth like this really unexpected I mean, a whole marriage, soon to be marriage. You guys are engaged now. And so I think like there are just certain pockets in our lives where courage does show up, kind of like another why not moment. I feel like that's the theme of this interview. Like, hey, why not? And you did it, and look at what came on the other side. So that's why I felt like it was important to highlight.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. He
So,
literally walked through the door, by the way.
oh, hey, brother Xavier. So, in all of the different realms and places that you show up in now, I'd love to know what you wish the world would practice better or more of.
Right now, probably Grace.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I have a reason why though. Like, I just feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. I feel like our generation, um, we move pretty fast, which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but people are just trying to to do great things. Like,
Absolutely.
and that may sound exhausting or not exhausting, but people like we need grace. We need to be kinder to each other. Um, I don't know. Is that an okay answer? What have other people said?
It's really been all over the board, but I love grace. I mean, that's something that I so freely receive and need to be more mindful to be a catalyst to give as well. So, especially in the times that we're living in today, grace.
I yeah, like I want to say LaDawn 7 years ago, 8 years ago would not have said grace because I was not giving grace. I felt like everyone that needed to be of a certain stature. And I think you can obviously be both, but like things literally happen. We can just be kinder to one another and try to understand like what people are going through. Um, who you best. So whether, because there's going to be a moment where like I'm going to need some grace. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, as I mentioned in your introduction, I talked about, how you're a marketing maven, and you're CEO of Pot Noir, as well as a CMO of a new and emerging cybersecurity company. And I want to know what inspires you about the work that you do today?
Everything. And I know that's a could be a BS answer, but I love every aspect of it and I nerd out about it. So for instance, I'm in a shopper marketing class right now. I'm ending it like 2 weeks from now, finals. And it basically talks about how brands are displayed in merchandising in the grocery store. Probably one of the most boring places that you can be is a grocery store. But I am beyond excited for this class because, like, how there's a literal science, a human with a PhD wrote multiple books about how things are being displayed at the grocery store and how we pick the brands that we do. Um, and to me, before I was even in this course, I was like, yo, I don't even know why Tide even advertises. Like, I don't know why P&G even advertises. Like, my mama used Tide. I'm going to use Tide. It's fine. Like, there's no need to do it. But now that I understand the science behind it, I understand why P&G is an entire, like, popular brand. Do I want to work for P&G? Maybe. But, like, it's right now we're doing a project on um, Pepsi products, Coca-Cola products. Sorry, we have Fanta specifically.
Oh, top of the opposite ends of the gamut there, right?
Right, right. So like we have Fanta specifically, and like doing cool shopper marketing campaigns to um, basically highlight and market towards millennials. Like that's a dope project. Like I've looked into like AR games and like augmented reality and how other brands are using that. Like how Louis Vuitton used it in their last fashion show because of coronavirus. That's super dope. Like Virgil is one of the hottest in the games right now, but the fact that like brands have to step their digital game up because of what we're going through is pretty dope. So everything inspires me. I get excited over the littlest things when it comes to marketing. You know how I am. Packaging makes me more excited than any human should be, but that's just the things that I enjoy. Like that's the things that I like. Like the science behind making someone buy something is so interesting to me because I buy everything. I literally have a shopping problem. But the science behind like being like, okay, I want you to buy Tide instead of Gain, as simple as that might be, you know, $20 or whatever, but like that's very interesting to me because like brand loyalty, um, savings, whatever it might be to literally capture that customer. It's great. But yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I can tell you like light up when you talk about it. And that's how it's a sure sign, but it's a sure sign that you are operating in your gifting and what you're passionate about and what you're going to be able to give to the world. Because I'm like, people, we both work in retail and I'm like, people will pay a lot of money for somebody to let them know what the science is behind buying decisions, right? As we're all trying to like grasp the market share out there. So there's definitely space, really powerful space for you to occupy with your passions. And that is wonderful. So We are young, we are learning, we are growing, we are evolving, just like the brands have to in the midst of this digital age. But I always love to end and conclude these interviews by asking, what do you desire for your legacy to be?
Legacy?
It's the faces.
Because that was such a great intro and amazing question. And I'm like, have I thought about this yet? Um, Unapologetically dope or dopeness. Unapologetic dopeness. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Um, that is an excellent question. But what I try to instill in myself, because I am still teaching myself, I'm still growing. Um, like when you're a young adult, you're basically like raising yourself, if you will. Um, to be dope and fearless is pretty high and important on my list. So, um, for my legacy and the little kitties that may or may not come after, teaching a girl to be like dope and fearless and to ask for more, it's pretty high on my list. So
Ask for more. I love that. And I could say, I mean, I already obviously think the world of you and know that you're dope. And I've loved to see this fearlessness come out in you over the last year. So you are already making strides toward that legacy. And I look forward to how you will continue to impart it into the next generation, your nieces and the babies, and other nieces and nephews that will come through your sister friends as well.
absolutely.
Looking forward to the impact that you will have. So thank you once again for coming on my show, Courageous Conversations, for sharing more of your heart and just being transparent and vulnerable about your journey. It does matter, and I'm just so grateful to have shared this space with you today.
I'm super honored to be here. So you're killing it. You know that you're killing it though. This is an entire show. So super honored to be here. Super honored to be here on season one, if you will, because I know there will be several seasons.
That was important to you too. You're like, I'm season one material, baby.
Absolutely. I'm not rescheduling. I'm season one material. Me and my Tracy Ellis Ross hair and all. Like I might have not been physically ready, but like listen, I truly had to be here. You're iconic. The world needs to understand how creative and important that you are. So I'm glad that I am here.
Yes, I love you so much. And thank you very much. And yes, even though you are on a completely different time zone across the US from me, thank you. And busy with so many things going on, thank you for making the space to be here with me. It does mean a lot. And I look forward to continue to change the world right alongside of you.
Gotcha. Who else is gonna do it? So
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm overcome with laughter, which is what always happens when I am with LaDawn. So we appreciate you all for joining us on this episode of Courageous Conversations, and we will see you next time. God bless.
bye.